On behalf of my father and my family, it's just an enormous pleasure to present this award to a person who was so instrumental in my own medical training. Dr. Marshall Wolf is Emeritus Vice Chairman for Medical Education at the Brigham and Women's Hospital. He's a legendary educator referred to as the Dean of Medical Residency Program Directors. He has shaped the careers of over 2,000 physicians, half of whom now hold full professorships at leading medical schools, and many who have become prominent national leaders. In 1972, when Marshall became director of the medical residency program at the Brigham, only 4 women had trained in the preceding 28 years. Over the next 28 years, Dr. Wolf recruited 285 women. More than half became full professors, 14 became chief residents, and he now works for a former trainee, Dr. Betsy Nabel, president of the hospital. Though he has received numerous awards, he is most proud that he and his wife, Dr. Katie Wolf, made training at the Brigham a kinder, more nurturing experience. Dr. Marshall Wolf.
Thank you very much. I'm really honored to be the recipient of the Zaroff Award. I want to thank 3 people and then tell one story. The first is Larry Zaroff. He and I both trained at the Peter Bent Brigham Hospital. Dr. Zaroff in cardiovascular surgery and I in medicine and then cardiology. During my medical residency, the senior residents served as consultants to the cardiovascular surgery program, so he and I shared patients. I then began to train in cardiology, and he promptly decamped to Rochester. At least you think that was cause and effect. 25 years later, we worked together on a wonderful project. His son, Jonathan, came to the Brigham as my resident. And I was very pleased. I also want to thank Eliza Low Chin, who nominated me for this award. When she and her sister Joan were interns at the Brigham, John and Jessica, who spoke earlier this morning, were their junior residents. I want to acknowledge Jean Brownwald, who offered me the opportunity to run the medical residency programs at the Brigham. Both of our families fled religious persecution. They came to this country for that reason. And both of us married medical school classmates. So we were very much aware of the specific challenges which women in medicine faced. Jean and I both believed in a meritocracy. We did not think that the merit of our applicants was affected by their sex, race, or religion. And I told him he should be a co-recipient of today's award. Now my story, one story. The Brigham's Internship Committee often talks about the concept of distance traveled. And I assume those of you who have been on residency recruitment committees or medical acceptance committees know about that concept. So this story is about that concept, distance travel. 125 years ago, my mother's grandmother, my wife's grandmother, Catherine Neal, graduated from the Women's College of Pennsylvania. Since nobody would go to a woman physician, she didn't want to have a career in public health, which is what most women did who graduated in that era. She went to Mexico and founded a clinic, and for 30 years, she provided care for Indians and other impoverished individuals. 60 years ago, her granddaughter, my future wife, Catherine, who's over there, was admitted to Harvard Medical School, one of 5 women in a class of 150. I met Katie day 1 of medical school at the foot of our cadaver. Listen, this is a romantic setting. So romantic that a short 3 months later, she finally agreed to go out with me. A year later, we decided to marry. And we decided we should we'd go to Chicago so she could meet my family, and then to California so I could meet her family. And we were at the airport in Chicago with my parents, waiting to fly out to California. And a friend of my mother's came up to say hello. And my mother introduced me, saying I was a Harvard medical student. Oh, a medical student, you must be so proud. That's so wonderful. And then my mother introduced my fiancée, saying she was also a Harvard medical student. A medical student? Oi, Gewalt. My mother immediately explained to Katie that oi Gewalt means how nice. Last week, the Brigham matched 35 women to its medical residency program. Those 35 women will work with 4 chief residents. All 4 of them are women. Thank you very much for this very great honor.